Good morning, everybody. How are you guys doing today? It's a beautiful week, and we are in our 4th week of January. Like, that's crazy. We're already 4 weeks into January, and this year already feels like it's going super fast. But I feel like we say that about like every month. Every month feels like it's going fast. But that also means we are in our 4th week of our self-control series. So we've learned quite a bit through these past couple months, and I hope you guys are keeping some mental notes, writing some stuff down, and just keeping ahead of how we could practice self-control in our lives. But usually I start our time off with a little icebreaker question, get to know you, little fun times. But today I have brought to you a game, okay? So you guys don't need to type anything in the chat. This is for you guys to play at home, but I'm gonna tell you what is gonna happen. So I'm gonna show you guys a piece of paper, okay? And this piece of paper is going to have a word on it, and that word is gonna be a color. So let's say, for example, I show you a piece of paper that says the color yellow, okay? But I'm gonna write it in a different color. So I'm gonna show you the card, and let's say it's the color yellow, but it's written in purple. Your goal is to actually say what the color is that it's written in, not what the word says. So for example, I'll give you guys one teaser. So like here, you would say the word purple because it's written in purple, but it's gonna get confusing because it says the word green on it. You guys get it? You guys tracking? So let's say, for example, I'm like 3, 2, 1, go. Green. Oh, I even messed up. See, it gets a little bit confusing, but your goal is to say purple, okay? Just say purple, and then that's how the game goes. So I'm gonna show these pretty fast, okay? I'm gonna go through different sections, and from there, you guys are going to say what you think it is, and let's see if you're able to complete all 5 levels, okay? So here's the first one. Purple. I hope you guys said purple. Okay, next one. Green. Yes. Okay, next one. It's gonna get confusing now. Orange. 2 more. You guys think you're gonna pass the next 2 levels? Blue. And last but not least, here comes the wild card. Here it comes. And pink. So it might have gotten a little confusing, and you might have had to think before you spoke. I'm saying that in a certain way because that might be our bottom line for today. But we're going to be continuing doing that. But we're going to look at our memory verse for today, actually. And this is what it says. It says, God's power has given us everything we need to live a godly life. 2 Peter verse 1-3. So that is our memory verse for the month. And I hope that we're keeping it in our minds. We're trying to memorize it because it is such a helpful verse when we're trying to practice self-control. So continue to memorize that, maybe even get some actions going. Maybe if you want to throw some God's power with like strong arms because God's powerful, do what you got to do to help you memorize it. But we are going to go into our worship time today. So I will see you guys right after that.
Whenever I'm in need and I'm looking for help, God, you're always there for me. Wherever you lead me, I can follow you. God, you're always there for me. Oh, God, you're always there for me. Help me believe you know what's best for me. I feel it in my soul when you are in control. I got one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Oh yeah, I do what I should do when you help me choose. I got one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Oh yeah, I got one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Oh yeah, one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Whenever I'm lost and I don't know where to turn, God, you're always there for me. Wherever I go, you're always by my side. God, you're always there for me. Oh, God, you're always there for me. So help me believe you know what's best for me. us to be more like you. Cause your way is the best way. I feel it in my soul when you are in control. I got one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Oh yeah, I do what I should do when you help me choose. I got one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Oh yeah, I feel it in my soul when you are in control. I got one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Oh yeah, I do what I should do when you help me choose. I got one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Oh yeah, I got one life to live and I wanna live it your way. Oh yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Jacob, here today to talk to you about self-control. Self-control is choosing to do what you should, even when you don't want to. It's very important to have control. I have a controller for just about everything, in fact. Like this stereo. Thanks, stereo. Or this fan. Oh, I've even got a remote for my blender. And of course, everyone's favorite remote control, the TV remote. Whoa, where is the TV remote? This is its spot. This is its home. It's where it lives. Where are you, little TV remote? TV remote! TV? 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 No, little guy, where are you? TV! This makes me so mad. I bought the remote caddy so that I could house my remotes. And when someone takes the remotes away and doesn't put it back, I get real angry. I ask you, why have a remote caddy if you're not gonna caddy the remotes? What's going on? Oh, I think I'm paused. Okay, maybe this is for the best. I was really losing my temper there. Okay, I feel better. You can unpause me now. That was a close one. Anger can really take over if you let it. In today's story, we'll hear about a guy named David who had every reason to be angry. Let's hope it doesn't control him. Oh, I wonder what this controls. I don't even own a car.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story. Inspired by the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 24.
David had been chosen by God as Israel's next king, but for a while, Saul was still king. David served King Saul and won many battles for him. The people loved David.
Hey David, you're so fine, you blow our money, David! Hey David!
Saul, however, was deeply jealous of David. In fact, he even tried to kill him. David escaped into the wilderness, where around 400 men came to join him. People who were in trouble or owed money.
A merry band of misfits.
But Saul still saw David as a threat. When he heard that David and his men were camped in the desert of Maon, Saul took soldiers to chase after him.
They're right behind us, David.
Quick, we'll head around the mountain.
Just as Saul and his men were closing in on David, Saul received word that the Philistines were attacking Israel.
Oh, phooey.
Saul was forced to stop the chase and deal with the Philistines. David and his men could breathe a sigh of relief.
There's a safe place near En-Gedi. Maybe Saul will finally leave us alone if we hide out there.
But as soon as Saul had dealt with the Philistines, a messenger brought news.
David is in the desert of En-Gedi.
Aha! We've got him this time. Gather 3,000 of the best soldiers from all of Israel.
But, Your Majesty, David only has 400 men.
3,000, and not one less.
Saul set out once more, determined to wipe out his rival.
Bet that pipsqueak is hiding out near the rocky cliffs of the Wild Goats.
Well, that seems oddly specific.
Yeah, he used to herd sheep.
In fact, David and his men have been staying near some sheep pens not far from the cliffs.
Saul, headed this way. He's got 3,000 soldiers.
Again? Why can't he leave us alone?
We can take him on. I'm worth 10 of his soldiers.
David could feel his anger boiling, but he took a deep breath.
No, we won't fight them now.
And we won't have a choice in about 6 minutes.
The caves. I want everyone inside. Stat!
David and his men hurried into a nearby cave that cut deep inside the cliffs.
All the way to the back.
They're here.
Outside, near the sheep pens, Saul had called a halt.
Take a break, men.
At that moment, Saul found himself in need of a royal outhouse.
I require a royal outhouse.
I believe there's a cave over there, Your Majesty.
I suppose it'll do.
Saul entered the cave. Far back in the cave, David and his men froze. Through the gloom, David could see the man who had tried to kill him and was now forcing him to live on the run.
What if he finds us?
I don't believe we're Saul's #1 priority at the moment.
He's alone. This is your chance.
God's handed your enemy over.
Don't let this chance just trickle away.
David's anger burned red hot as he crept up behind Saul, sword at the ready. But then, he forced himself to stop. Instead of attacking Saul, David sliced off a corner off the king's long royal robe. Saul left the cave with no idea that David was still inside.
Time to move out, men. This is the day we take out that whippersnapper David.
But at that moment, David emerged from the cave and cried out,
King Saul!
David?
David bowed low to the ground.
Why do you listen when men say David is trying to harm you? This day you have seen with your own eyes how the Lord handed you over to me in the cave. Some of my men begged me to kill you, but I didn't. I said, he is the Lord's anointed king.
Saul could only stare in shock as David held the piece of fabric he cut from Saul's robe.
Look at this. I cut off the corner of your robe, but I did not kill you. Yet you are hunting me down to kill me. May the Lord show that I'm not guilty of doing anything wrong. May he save me from you.
The truth cut Saul to the heart and began to weep.
Oh, you are a better person than I am. You have treated me well, but I've treated you badly. May the Lord reward you. I know for sure that you will be king. Now, promise me that you won't kill my family or wipe out my name from my family line.
David looked his enemy straight in the eye.
I promise.
Then Saul and his men returned home, and David and his band of misfits returned to their usual hiding place.
David was angry at King Saul, and he probably should have been. King Saul was trying to kill David. But even in his anger, David didn't lose control. He paused and thought and didn't let his anger take over. You don't need a remote control for yourself to know how to pause. You can do that on your own. If you're angry because someone borrowed something they weren't supposed to, or someone said something that really hurt your feelings, you could just fly off the handle. Or you can pause, count to 3 or 10 or 100 if you have to, and think about how you're going to respond. Remember, you can pause in real life, but what you can't do is rewind. Once you've said or done something in anger, it's out there. You can never take it back. I'm not saying you shouldn't ever get angry. In fact, Jesus himself got angry, but he had good reasons to get angry. And so do we sometimes. It's like when you or someone you know is being treated unfairly. That's a good reason to get angry. Losing a remote? Probably not the best reason to get angry, but good anger or bad, it's still wise to keep control of your anger instead of letting it control you. That's the one thing to remember today. Don't be controlled by your anger. Count to 10 and keep your cool. Music!
Okay. Music! Oh, that's the... Okay.
I gotta get a universal remote. I'll see you next time.
So do y'all see how I like tied in today's game and the bottom line, because I made you think before you spoke with the game, and then the same thing how the bottom line is think before you speak? Yeah. So today we learned that it is so important for us to think before we speak, because honestly, it is so easy when we're angry or if we're feeling frustrated just to go and say mean things. And I've done it before, maybe you've slipped up a couple times before, and what that happens when we don't think before we speak. And one thing that they mentioned in today's video that we actually talked about a couple weeks back is that when we're thinking about what words we're gonna use, are we gonna be using words that help people or hurt people? So I have an example. They kind of use a similar example in the story, but we're gonna use our handy dandy cards from today. We had fun with them, but now we're going to destroy them, unfortunately. So let's say, for example, this sheet of paper is someone's feelings, okay? And this is our mean words, okay? So let me give a scenario. Let's say you had a friend that you were playing tag with, okay? And you guys are all running, you're having a great time, everything's fun, but then your friend accidentally pushes you too hard when they're trying to tag you because they were so eager to tag you, and then you fall over. So in that moment, you're probably feeling angry, you scuffed up your pants, your knee hurts, and it's not a fun situation. But instead of thinking before you spoke, you decided to use mean words. So your friend pushes you and you turn around to your friend, you're like, you're so clumsy, you're the worst friend ever, why would you do this to me? Like, you can't play tag with me anymore, I don't want to be your friend. And the more hard words that you're using and the more mean words that you use, it hurts people's feelings. And in this moment, you could have easily just said, you know what, it was an accident, maybe next time be more careful, but instead, you didn't think before you spoke and you decided to word bomb, and now your friend's feelings are hurt. And this is such a good example of how our words can affect some people. And sometimes we, like I said earlier, we may be in the heat of the moment, we might let some words slip, but when we take the time to pause and think of that question, are my words gonna help people or hurt people, we can make a bigger impact because we're realizing if we're hurting people's feelings in that moment. And we're gonna pray about this and how God can help us in those moments, because it's not always the easiest. Sometimes it's really easy just to quickly say something and just be over it, but God can help us in those moments. So let's pray about that together. Dear Jesus, thank you for today, God, and thank you for showing us the lesson for us to think before we speak. Our words have such power and such meaning, and sometimes if we use them the wrong way, it could really hurt people. And God, as we're practicing self-control this month and just throughout the rest of our lives, I pray that you continue to remind us that you can help us practice self-control, even when it feels hard. So God, I pray that we continue to remember that and call on you. In Jesus' name, amen. See, praying to God is such a cool opportunity because we're able to ask him for help. Because for me, I know there's days where I need help with self-control, and I can easily just pray to God and ask him to help me with it, and God's able to help you. So if this is something that you're struggling with, take the time to pray with God and ask him to help you if this is an area that you might be struggling with. But that's all from me today, guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Maybe go outside, build a snowman, drink some hot chocolate, get cozy and warm. But I hope you guys have a great rest of the day and a great week. See you guys next week.